Greetings and welcome to my channel. Today's video will be a bit different as we take an in-depth look at the Google Pixel 6a. Instead of just providing the facts, I want to give you a personal perspective on this budget version of the Pixel 6 family. We will be discussing its features, performance, and any concerns I had while using it. So, sit back, relax, and let's dive into the world of the Google Pixel 6a. The Pixel 6a comes with a 6.1-inch flat 1080p OLED display with 60Hz and Google's very own Tensor processor. It also boasts a 4410 mAh battery with 18-watt charging speed and a dual camera setup on the back with a 12.2 megapixel main sensor and an 8 megapixel front selfie camera. Plus it has an in-display fingerprint sensor and can hold up to 128 GB of storage. But before we get into the nitty-gritty details of this device, let's talk about the build quality. Overall, I have no complaints. It feels solid in the hand, and even with its glass back, it still feels pretty premium for the price. Now, let's dive into some of the concerns I had with this phone. First and foremost, the small screen. As someone who has been using phones with huge screens for the past decade, I found it hard to adjust to a 6.1-inch display. But I do have to say that the display is sharp and gets plenty bright. But when you compare it to premium devices, the difference in brightness and pixels is noticeable. The display in general is at most B+. However, I will say that the lack of curves on the edge is a plus. Personally, for a person coming from a 120Hz display, I think 60Hz is good enough, and the overall software is well optimized for a fluid experience. I know people have complained about the lack of fluidity in the past, but I haven't experienced any major concerns of that sort. I assume Google has resolved most of those concerns through software updates. Lastly, the small screen was a bit more manageable by decreasing the font size. Another concern I had with the phone was the lack of wireless charging. As someone who loves to take advantage of wireless charging, this was a bummer. But I did find a solution. I placed a wireless charging receiver with MagSafe on the back of the phone and put a case on it. While it did get warm after long use, it worked pretty well. The only downside is that the adapter blocks the USB input. I don't usually need to plug anything in, but if I really need to, I can always remove the case and the adapter. Additionally, it makes a light computerized processing noise when charging wirelessly. Which did make me uneasy at first, but after a few monitored charging sessions, it doesn't really bother me. Lastly, let's talk about the OS and UI. I had my concerns before getting the phone, but overall I'm pleasantly surprised by the experience and the features. The interface is fluid, especially for a 60Hz display, and the animations are quite delightful. It's worth mentioning that I particularly enjoyed the call screening feature. In terms of personalization and customization, Android 12 offers decent options. However, when comparing it to Samsung's One UI, I must say that Samsung's level of customization and personalization is a step ahead. The Samsung DeX feature, which I have mentioned before, is truly underrated. The level of customization directly through Samsung is amazing, and you can truly personalize the experience to your own liking. And even more through Samsung's own Good Lock app. Although, I do have to acknowledge that for some people, Samsung's level of customization may be overwhelming. Another aspect I appreciate about Samsung's One UI is the ability to shrink the notification pop-up style. As a result, taking up less space on the screen while still providing reasonable information. On the Google Pixel, it takes too much screen space and can be distracting, especially in landscape mode. Additionally, I prefer the camera experience of the Samsung Camera app, Gallery app, and the Files app. Lastly, and possibly the most important factor, most new phones from Samsung receive 4 years of software support and 5 years of security support, in comparison to Google's 3 years of software support and 5 years of security support. So my overall thoughts are, the Google Pixel 6a is a great budget-friendly option, but as with any device, it does come with its pros and cons. For the average user, I think a Pixel user experience would be refreshing. and I dare say, even for iPhone users. If we are talking about the Google Pixel 6a as an overall phone, I would say as a budget phone, it's definitely worth considering. But for me as a power user who does almost everything on their phone, literally even recording YouTube videos through it, I need a better battery, more customization, reliable camera, and an overall powerful device. Even though I was pleased with what Google is doing, the Google Pixel isn't for me. What's next for me? Well, I'm gonna wait for the Samsung S23 series to be launched. Then either keep this phone as a backup, give it away, or sell it. Stay tuned. So, it's up to you to weigh the pros and cons and decide for yourself if this is the right device for you. If you enjoyed this video, smash the like button and leave a comment and share it with others. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.